You are very anxious to know that Happy Gil High School Musical, not a bad guess, though way off. Kristen Visser does win the 1,000 bonus points. Congrats, Kristen. I would save those up. Who knows how much they're going to be worth in the future? Sort of like stocking up on silver coins. You never know what it'll be worth in 10 years. So 1,000 bonus points. Yes, K-pop Demon Hunters. I'm going to do a plug for K-pop Demon Hunters. They are not paying me to promote their movie, though they probably should. Everybody should go and watch K-pop Demon Hunters. I know just by the name of it, you're like, there's no way I'm watching something with such a ridiculous name, but don't let that stop you. Don't judge a book by the name of the book, as that old saying goes. All right, y'all, let's jump into it. Joe, let me know when you're recording. Oh, Joe is recording. I see the recording button. I probably should have quoted the book thing correctly. All right, folks, as you may have guessed, we're going to cover AI again today, and we may even do it again next week. I don't know. It just depends on how much we cover today. And we're going to do some demonstrations, and I am going to rely heavily today on your participation for the demonstration. So, and the reason being is what our goal today is. Our goal today is really simple. Well, there's two goals today.
Oh, that's in there.
One is to demonstrate how deep this AI thing can go for you, how you can use it to make your life easier. And so hopefully by the end of this, you'll see how powerful this can be in just a single aspect of your daily real estate life. So today we're going to focus on listings only. Okay. And of course, we can cover the buyer side, we can cover prospecting, we can cover, personal marketing, we can cover all sorts of subject in which this can be ultimately very valuable for us. But today, as a demonstration, we're going to solely focus on, we got a new listing. How can AI help us with this new listing? That's all we're going to do. Some of you may go, well, I've done all this before, and that's cool, but too bad you're going to see it again. All right, so let's start. Many of you, I don't know if all of you have heard the term, but since this is basically an introductory course, the term that you should implant in your brain now is the term prompt. And a prompt is the new lingo for saying asking a question to AI, okay? But it's not just, it doesn't have to be just a question. So if you were to describe to someone, or you were to write a book about real estate, could you do it in a single sentence? There's no way, right? If you were to write a book about what your job is or what you do on a daily basis, or even let's scale it back to our exact subject. If you were to write a book on what you do with every single listing, could you do it in, say, 2 or 3 sentences? No, like this is a very involved and sometimes complicated process. So in turn, should you think of your prompts as involved, not necessarily complicated, but involved. So to ask AI to help us with our listing, and we could go, hey, here's our listing at 123 Main, help us. It'll help you, okay? But if we get very specific on what kind of help we want, the results will be drastically different and much more usable, much more actionable. Okay, so our goal today, and by the way, I've already created it and it's already ready to go, but I want to demonstrate to you how I created it. It took me about, let's say, 35 minutes to create the prompt. Now, I think I could create a much better prompt, okay? It took me about 35 minutes to create the prompt that I believe would help you manage your listing significantly better than whatever process you're using now, okay? Maybe not better, but certainly much more efficiently. So if we get a new listing, let's start putting in the chat, if you would, all the things that you want to know Now and even include the stuff we've already covered. I want you to put in the chat all the things that you would want to know or that are important to you when you get a new listing. Now think of, from the day that you get the listing until, and then like, hey, well, I got the listing. I got to do the basics of getting it on the internet. I got to do this and that. I got to think about marketing. So put in the chat all those items. Okay, just start flow them in. I'll keep track of them. I've got a list here of my own. Okay, all of the information that is important, and just put it in there. So Debbie, area schools, HOA info. That's really good. Actually, I forgot about HOA info. Think about the stuff that you would like to have, but we could do a lot of research to get that, but maybe that's really not easily accessible information. Scott says price, amenities, social media post. Debbie, I like that one. Proximity to parks and recreation, really good one. Area schools, HOA info. And of course, we don't, drive times are actually really good. Think about, and of course we want the basics, bed, bath, square footage, that type of thing. I'll prompt you. How about the community? What are we telling about the community? What do we need to know about the community? Is there a certain demographic that we want to know, right? Who lives in this community? What are median incomes in this community? Who are the major employers, perhaps, right? All of that's really good information to have. Nancy says membership information, restaurants, community, trail systems, ski access. Thank you for chiming in on this one, Nancy, because this is a really good example of why a prompt in Park City for a listing might be different than a prompt in Ogden for a listing. We have ski access, we have trail systems, we have restaurants, we have very little membership information. We do have the Ogden Country Club, but not like Park City, right? So your prompts and the things that are important to you may change, okay? Let's throw a few more in there and build upon that. Now, I know that when we get listings, the vast majority of the time, we talk about, these are for single family homes or second home. They're single family homes very often. They could be rentals, right? But people do rent single family homes. Do we potentially want a financial analysis of this property, right? How much rents do you think we could receive? If we could receive rents, what kind of loan do we need to get in order for this to cash flow, right? What is the loan to value ratio that would be required on this particular home when you see what the market rents are? What is the loan to value ratio for this to cash flow, right? We would do that analysis normally if that was the goal, but if you were a home buyer or a home seller, sometimes that information might be good to just look up and go, oh, this is what it is. The answer may be, this is a horrible property to buy in order to rent. That might be the answer, but it's something really good to have. So we talked about major employers. Maybe we want that. How about the demographic of the buyer most likely to buy the house? Maybe we could ask AI, who are the three most likely potential buyers, and what do they look like? Okay, where do they work? Where do they come from? Is there more in-migration to this community and this property, or is there more out-migration? And if that's the case, where are these people coming from? And I know that we're building something that sounds super involved, but when all this information is condensed and easily deliverable, it's a significant improvement, in my opinion, on your listing presentation and the type of information that you're bringing to the table. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put in the chat because, well, that's probably not a great way to do it. I'm going to share with you my initial foray into asking all these questions, okay? And we're going to share my OneNote there. I don't know how well you're seeing this. Can everybody see my OneNote right now? Okay. So here's my analysis. We're going to start with analyzing the property. Basic show, obviously, size, beds, baths. We're definitely going to want comparables. I thought local supply and demand include demographics of the community, include a description of the growth and in-migration or out-migration, depending on the most impactful situation. Where are people coming from or leaving to go to? I think I want to profile the 3 most likely buyers of this property. If people are searching for real estate in, say, Park City, where are those internet searches coming from? What communities are they originating out of? Are they looking for, are the most people looking for Park City real estate located in Los Angeles, Las Vegas, San Diego? And then I think, it may not be important in everyone, but every single home, if we could have an investment potential analysis done on every single home and have it done in minutes to give us some snapshot, I think that's pretty valuable. To give us some kind of cash flow scenario. How about past home price appreciation of the housing market in this particular city? How about who are the major employers of this marketplace? Are there major employers in this town? Are they commuters? Is this are they commuting to Salt Lake City? Are they commuting to Park City? Where are the major employers? Are there any major projects around that may impact the livability of this? So those are my prompts, okay? And then I love Nancy's. I'm going to go ahead and add those Nancy's. Like when we talk about a home, the amenities of the home are very important. So trail systems, ski access, and maybe that's all summed up in where do people go entertain themselves? What do they do for fun? Is this an outdoor community? Okay. Those are all really good descriptions. Kristen says, if you have an MLS sheet from a previous listing, you can upload the PDF directly to AI to save you the time of typing up the basics. Yes. So that can be included in this prompt. Okay. By the way, just bear with me. We're heading somewhere I think is going to be really cool. Okay. All right. Does everybody feel pretty good about that? So that right there, not marketing the property, we'll get to that in just a second, but this right here, that's a solid, like if we had that information on every single listing, that's pretty valuable stuff. Okay. Now we got a really good description of the property. We got a good description of who might buy that property. We have potentially a good description of who lives in that area, right? We have investment potential. We got a lot of great things answered with those questions, okay? Let's go on to marketing the property. So I think, all of us, when we get a listing, we have some idea of, well, when I get a listing, these are the things that I do. This is kind of the basic stuff, right? We order a flyer, we order a sign, we order photography, we think about social media posts, we do all that. Maybe there's some benefit to marketing that we could talk about. Throw in the chat if you would. And not the basics, because I think we got those, like making flyers and, but if you think of if you have a creative social media idea or campaign, throw that in there so we can include that in our prompt. That would be helpful as well. But think about this too. If you were to get a listing, if you had the perfect assistant right there for you, and you gave them a listing, would you probably instruct them, hey, I want a social media campaign for every single listing, and I want that done and finished by the end of the day, right? I want everything done for maybe 3 months, all the posts created, all the descriptions, all the photos added for 3 months, so we already know what's going to go on and it's scheduled. Not only is that effective for you, right? Not only is that effective for you and your time, but imagine that's the service that you can communicate to your clients. Like, this is what we do. Every single listing, we have 3 months of social media posts that we'll create ahead of time, that will be scheduled and planned as part of your marketing effort. Just that alone, I think, is pretty impactful. iPhone 16 Pro, Kim says, video script for social media. I like that a lot. Nancy Ernie says Twilight Tour, video, Matterport, social media campaign. Very good. I like all of those things. So think about these things as if you had the perfect assistant, how you would organize yourself. Okay. So I'm not gonna, here's, maybe I can just copy and paste because that might be better for everybody to actually read. Oh, hold on. Give me just a second. Come on, Mr. Computer. Sorry, y'all, my computer is really laggy right now. I'm going to show you sort of my initial jump into what I think a marketing. Nope, that's not it. There we go. This is sort of what I've got. Man, this computer is acting unbelievably weird right now. Okay, so I'll just read it to you because that sounds significantly easier right now. Here's what I got for marketing the property. Of course, we need an MLS description. And so my idea for this, here's a great idea. I think sometimes it might be easier we can upload, in order to start this process, one of the really good ideas Kristen had was just use, if you have it available, use the old MLS printout to upload to start that. So you at least get the basics down. The property description is kind of there. But one of the things that is doable is I demonstrated this last time. Let's say you get your photography done and we have our photography available to us. Just even that 360 tour. So I'm going to share my screen real quick and just show you how quickly this can generate something meaningful for you. Okay. So you should be seeing my screen right now. I'm going to paste this particular home tour link into our chat. And then I'm just going to, by the way, shift enter, let you go down a line, give me a thorough, and we're going to do a thorough property description of this. And my advice is to start big when you do this because you can always reduce down to your needs. Okay. So with that link, we're getting some pretty serious analysis. Okay. Imagine if this is what you start with to create a really robust property description. Okay. And we won't go into, the specific details of this particular description, but you can see how this can start you on your path of where you're going. So if you have a 360 home tour or whatnot, or even an MLS description, the same thing can be accomplished with a prior MLS printout. Okay. So my social media, to kind of piggyback on this, I would use this as a springboard to my social media and marketing prompt. So I would use that to say, all right, let's create an email blast, open house flyers, social media campaign. My idea is create a social media campaign for 3 months. Let's post twice a week and suggest marketing ideas based off the demographic and the buyer profile of the likely markets. And then make a suggestion of where to target those campaigns based upon your assessment of in-migration or something similar. Think about that. That's very different than just posting and maybe doing a radius marketing around the property, right? Much more insightful. Create schedules and dates and times to post these things as well, right? That's done immediately for you, okay? All right, so what time is it? 1:22. Okay, we're making good time. So let's do, what I wanna do is kind of show you where this gets you, okay? I'm gonna copy and paste this here, and we're gonna build something. This is the most simplest form, okay? So we're gonna take that link. I'm gonna share my screen again. We're gonna take that link that we just posted, and we're gonna paste it back in there, okay? So you see my link, okay? And then this is sort of the prompt that we got, okay? And I'm gonna say, Use the link to fill in the information needed. Okay. So look at this prompt. So it's basically saying, this prompt, by the way, can exist on your, like a Word document that you save and reintroduce to every single property. It can exist that way. Of course, you can see right there that there's information that you would need to input in order to create the prompt to really output what you need. Okay. Do the following: create a 30-day listing action plan with a specific task and suggested due dates. Generate a weekly communication plan. Include suggested check-ins, reports, and reminders. Draft a welcome email for the client summarizing next steps, communication frequency, and your commitment. Draft a welcome email. Oh, I already read that. I'm reading it twice. List key performance indicators I should monitor weekly and include prompts I can use to request summaries from you. Okay. So that would be like, I'm reporting on your listing and your activity. What should I go gather? So we don't have to think about that every single time. Set reminders for follow-up tasks. Suggest 3 marketing strategies specific to this listing. Provide a pricing reevaluation template I can use at day 14 or 21 if the home hasn't received strong interest. Now, all of this you can modify according to market conditions, according to your specific market. Like Nancy may need to modify this slightly. Now, this is the first step, by the way. We're going to get much more complicated. Let's just see what happens. And by the way, the more information you're requesting, the longer these things can take to output. Okay. So it did a really good job of the property snapshot, which I requested it to be filled in based on the link, right? I didn't have to fill that in myself. I used a link to fill in that information. Okay. 30-day listing action plan. Okay. Starting on August 28th. Pretty good action plan. Finalize property description. MLS active listing goes live. Announce via agent network email blast. All the way through day 30. There's your communication plan. Okay. Client welcome email. By the way, how many out there are sending a welcome email on a new listing that might summarize your marketing efforts, or that might summarize, what they can expect in the next 14 days? That's not necessarily an easy thing to execute every time unless you have somebody doing it for you, like you're a busy person, right? There's the welcome email. I'm excited to announce that your stunning home, blah, 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 what to expect, communication, first delivery, mid-cycle review. I'll spotlight your home's unique values, solar efficiency, panoramic. Like, think about the email that can be automatically crafted and ready for you to email your clients after, like, the day you get the listing, that provides a really solid summary of maybe your communication that you've already had or the commitments you've already made to that particular listing. So look, number 4, key performance indicators and prompts, MLS views and saves, website visits, number of showing requests, open house attendance, number of feedback from agents, right? And by the way, look at this section right here. I want you to note this, prompts and reporting. If you organize yourself correctly, AI will prompt you to ask that question. How many times has this listing been viewed or saved this week, right? And if you fill that information in and give it to AI, it'll then create the report for you, right? A really good email format for you so you can then deliver that to your clients. Weekly follow-up reminders, marketing strategies tailored. So there's 3 that we can think of. Pricing reevaluation template, day 14 or 21. Okay. Look at this. This is the one thing I really like. This actually coincides. So if someone were to ask me, Mike, my listing isn't selling, what should I do? The first thing I suggest everybody do is to go back and talk about what happened in the past and review everything that you've done to sell their home, like where you're at. It's had this many showings. It's had this many views on these websites. I've done 3 open houses. I've talked to this many agents. I've had this communication. I've had 3 agents tell me that they're going to make offers, but they never did. And I've had 5 agents tell me that they think the home is overpriced. Like, we summarize everything that we've been doing and we repeat it all back to them before we talk about anything else, right? Because it reaffirms that we're working. It reaffirms that we produce some results, not the exact result that they want, but we can at least demonstrate that we're marketing to this property. We're marketing this property and we presented it to the world, right? That's what item number 7 really does, right? We're at day number this. Here are we so far, okay? It'll even prompt us to say, okay, if we're re-evaluating this, we should probably look and see if there's other comps, right? Maybe we add in there what are the new actives that we need to talk about. We don't have to think about what to do when a property isn't selling and our clients are frustrated because we have a plan in place already, and AI will help guide us through those things. Okay, so there's that. Now, before I begin, I've been rambling a lot. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or suggestions before we kind of move on to the next level of the prompt? Anybody have any contributions? Ms. Visser, I am aware of your foray into using the paid version, the agent version. You're currently using the agent version and using it to manage your real estate business. Is that correct? Okay. So this is being done, and these things can be what we're showing you now should be customized to the things that you want and how you do business. Okay. All right. So what I want to do, let's see, it's 1:30. Okay. I'm going to show you. So I walked through all of this. Okay. I walked through all of this and tried to get as detailed as I could. And what I came up with is what I believe is it can be better because I only took about 35 minutes, but I believe this is a really good prompt. And this prompt is, let's see, almost 5 pages in a Word doc. Okay. So let's review this and see if this is something that can make our lives a little easier. And it should also demonstrate really what I consider a prompt to be. Okay. Can everybody see the Word doc that says modular AI listing template? All right. So, and by the way, what I did to get this prompt was I wrote everything down, and kind of you saw that in my OneNote and my examples. I took that, I put it into AI, and I said, don't perform this prompt. I want you to analyze my prompt. And it gave me this. AI listing assistant template modular prompt. Modular 1, property intelligence and market analysis. Prompt, act as a property analyst for a real estate listing. I'm providing the details below. Analyze the property, assess the local market, and create an investment profile. Okay. And of course, the basic details of the property. Task, break down the property basics, provide 3 to 5 comparables based on location and specs. Now, remember, when you do this, if you just give it the link, it doesn't have the comparables, but it'll tell you where are these comparables that I need in order to provide a better analysis. Okay. Analyze local supply and demand trends, including community demographics, population growth, in-migration, out-migration trends, where buyers are searching from, which is geosource of online demand. Build a buyer profile. Who are the 3 most likely buyers of this property? What is their age, income, lifestyle, and motivation? Evaluate investment potential. Estimate rental income, long-term or short-term rental. Provide a financial analysis for investment purchase. Required down payment to cash flow, estimated monthly cash flow, ROI projections. Okay. Recommend rent growth and appreciation projections. Include past home price appreciation in this zip or city. List major employers and utility providers. Identify any major current or upcoming infrastructure lifestyle impacting projects. Also included in there that we didn't, because this is what helps when everybody's jumping in on this, to expand on the lifestyle request. What are the major lifestyle features of this community? Which, if you're in Park City, they're trails and ski resorts. If you're in Ogden, they're trails and ski resorts. Okay. If you're in Salt Lake City, they're trails and ski resorts, right? So everywhere you go, there could be something that's a little more interesting that we can ask for and create a list of, so we can feature it as part of this property. Now we're moving to modular 2, marketing strategy and content creation. Use the property details above to build a full property marketing strategy. Ask for more info as needed, such as access to photos. Of course, we're going to do an MLS property description, build a full launch campaign, email blast, write your email blast, open house, date suggestions and copies, flyer content, generate 3 months of social media campaign, 2 posts per week, 24 total, tailored to buyer demographics. Think about that. Like, we all have in our brain, like, we all know that these ads that we create on social media would be much better if we knew who to really push it to, right? And we have some restrictions because we're real estate agents, but this will do a lot of that for us, okay? Hold on, somebody has a comment. Where can I find a recording this huddle? This will appear on BHHS Learning YouTube channel shortly. Yeah. All right, going back. But think about that. Even if some of the buyer demographics were restricted because of fair housing laws, maybe we at least know what cities to target. One of the valuable things that Jill Stringham has taught me is that targeting your social media ads or any ad to the local population for a listing probably isn't the best practice. Targeting those ads in cities that are frequently, people are frequently moving from that city to here is probably a much better use of your time and money. So Los Angeles, Phoenix, Las Vegas, right? Those things are probably more worthy of our time to send our ads to than Salt Lake City, where people are already mostly aware of it, right? But that would be a good tool to do that for. Because although all those cities may be true, the people coming to Park City might be originating from different cities than people coming to Salt Lake or Cottonwood Heights or downtown Ogden, right? This is also one I put in here and we haven't really talked about yet. Listing organization and client communication prompt, okay? Now help me stay organized and deliver a high-touch client experience for this listing. There is no doubt that some of us just have these great brains and drive and motivation to stay on top of the communication and deliver the information we need to our listing clients. And some of us don't, myself included. Like, we have the knowledge and the wisdom to do it, and we don't have the organization to execute. So this can help us stay on task and just tell us what to say. Because too frequently we're like, well, I need to call my client every single week. What do I say? It's there already. We don't even have to think about it. Maybe we need to deliver a little bit of information, but we can create a really good communication plan. And if you think about that, if you think about, well, my business is really referral based, it's referral based because you deliver a great product to your clients. This can help improve the customer experience and delivering a great product to your clients just through communication. I think we all know that. Draft a client welcome email. Explain upcoming cadence, set tone for the communication, list key performance indicators, right? So then we can always say, this is what I track. And during your listing appointment, you say, by the way, I'm going to communicate back to you these things. We don't have to communicate all things, just the things that you tell them, right? And so those might be, Utah real estate traffic, Zillow traffic, number of showing requests, feedback requests, that type of thing, right? Recommend 3 listing specific strategies, provide a price reevaluation email template to use on day, we should adjust those as market dictates, and then prompt that weekly. Would you like an updated progress report check-in? Okay. That feels pretty thorough to me. Does anybody feel like that's not thorough enough for a listing? Or do you have any thoughts to share on that particular prompt? Kristen says, prompt, write me a social media blurb for this listing that will specifically capture the attention of our target buyer demographic. I need to get more views on this listing, looking to capture the attention of active buyers who are likely to click on this link. That's a really great thing to add because the specificity of your prompt dictates the output, okay? So if you just put in that link or put in an MLS report of a past listing and say, help me out, it's gonna help you out. But the better question helps you out better, as you might have guessed. So here's what I wanna do. Now, we can organize ourselves much better, as I've said multiple times, but what I'm gonna do is I'm going to copy all of this, okay? And we are going to, again, we're going to paste that same link because it's just what so happens to be available. Okay. And then Shift Enter, give yourself a few lines there, and let's paste all of this in there. Okay. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Probably ought to do that so you can see what happens. All right, is everybody seeing the ChatGPT screen there? Oh yeah, you are. Now my green line appeared. Okay, so you can see here that I pasted the link to the property tour in there, and we can use anything we want. We can just provide a basic text description of the property too, which gives, address, price, that type of thing. We can put in there Moxie links that if we created a Moxie listing report, that'll work too. And then the prompt that you just saw on my other screen in a Word doc, I just pasted in there. Okay, there it is. Okay. All right, let's see what happens. That's a lot of information. And, it's actually going super fast, so that's nice. This can take a minute, depending on, the load of ChatGPT and how many people are using it or whatever particular one you're using. It can take a second, okay? But let's look at the output of this, okay? We've got comparables, even though I didn't put them in there because there's some public information out there that'll give them. Now, you as a real estate agent probably ought to go take a look at that and see if that's accurate, because these things do spit out some gobbledygook sometimes. Local supply, so we got the basic information, okay, right there, as you would expect. We kind of covered that already. Comparables, it gave us 5, okay. There's an active on 2120 South, 4200 West in Ogden for 835. Then we got some other comps. You better go check and make sure those are accurate. And then as we requested, local supply and demand trends. The Weber County median age is 32, mix of young families and mid-career professionals. 6% population growth over the past 10 years. Steady in-migration from Salt Lake in California. That would jive with what agents in Ogden and even north of Ogden are seeing, that a lot of the buyers are moving north for affordability. We kind of saw that, but that's a really good thing to see. Buyer origin for this particular listing, 35% of them will come from Weber and Davis County. 40% will be Salt Lake commuters, and 25% will be out-of-state relocations, California, Nevada, and Texas. Interesting to know. Buyer profile, family with 2 to 3 children, dual income, household income of 150 to 200,000, wants a larger home plus solar savings. Buyer B, this will be relocation from California, Arizona, Nevada, 40s to 50s, cash heavy, seeking mountain views, newer home. I think we've all experienced that. Buyer C, investor or executive looking for luxury rental second home, motivated by solar energy efficiency and long-term growth. All right, here's investment potential. This is nice to have, even if we don't use it. Estimated long-term rent, $3,200 to $3,500 a month. Airbnb short-term rental potential, $250 to $350 a night. Gross seasonal financial analysis. You need $165,000 down payment. Cash flow, ROI growth, rent growth, all in there. That's just the snapshot. If we needed to, we could provide more information to that and dive deeper, right? But that's just the snapshot. Past appreciation, median home value up 52% in the last 5 years. 2020 median 280 to 2025 median at 425. Employers and utilities, very handy. Hill Air Force Base, Weber State, McCady, Autoliv, and Lifetime Products. Current and upcoming infrastructure, West Davis Highway expansion, improving Salt Lake City commute, which just finished, but they are also planning that to go into Weber County. Davis County has that West Davis corridor expansion already. New Amazon distribution facilities in Weber and Davis County. That's also big. We do have 2 of those that just opened. Ongoing Ogden Airport expansion for regional flights. Now, I knew that. I would have never talked about that. right? But it's really good stuff to have in your brain. Ogden is spending lots of money on their regional airport to get some more commuter flights in there. Look at the follow-up questions. Do you want me to run deeper analysis on any of this, right? As a reminder, this is all just the first phase of your adventure into gathering all the information that you need. Let's move on to modular 2, marketing strategy and content creation. Of course, we've got an MLS description. That's the first draft. People have been doing that for 2 or 3 years now, no problem. Launch campaign, email blast, solar powered luxury with mountain views, new Ogden listing, okay? Open house plan, suggested date, weekend after Labor Day. Flyer content, that's great. Monthly social media campaigns, frequency posts, week 1 and 2 just listed, plus feature spotlights, solar kitchen theater, week 3 and 4, buyer lifestyle spotlight, family spaces, sunset, energy savings. Now, let's pause real quick on the social media campaign. If we were to include in our prompt Nancy Ernie's suggestions, do you think the social media campaign suggestions would be different? Yeah, right. If you're doing a social media campaign in Ogden or Salt Lake City and you have a very short 15-minute drive to PCMR or Snow Basin, that's probably something to highlight, because we do know that part of the demographic that's going to buy this home is from out of state. They may want to know that. Even Salt Lake City, Salt Lake City, people don't venture up and don't know the proximity of Snow Basin to, say, downtown Ogden or the Bench, where I don't even know where this property is located. I didn't even look at the address. But if you're up on the benches, how long is it at Snow Basin, right? Those are features that are probably something you want to know. Not to mention, you include Kristen Visser's much more detailed description of what she wants out of her social media post. You're going to get a different response. Think of the difference between highlighting local area amenities such as ski resorts and trails and asking AI to tell you, well, I want something that's targeted at people looking at homes that they'll click on. Those are different. To say highlight a product or create a social media post that will generate clicks back to my website, or ideally back to Real Scout, is a much different experience and a much different output that AI is going to give you, okay? All right, modular 3, listing organization and client communication. Okay, MLS day 3, first marketing email blast. Day 7, first client update call. Day 14, review if needed, right? Day 21, open house number 2. Day 30, strategy review and relaunch if unsold. Okay, it's just there for you. It's ready to go. Weekly communication plan, emails, reporting, client welcome email draft. If you prompt it better, you're ready to copy and paste and send that email right now. Okay, KPIs to monitor. Okay, it'll already MLS views and saves, showing request, open house attendance, social engagement, and agent feedback. Now imagine if you returned once a month or every couple of weeks an email that contain that information to your seller clients. That's a really good client experience, as they really feel like they're on top of and that you're reporting back to them their activity. Now, traditionally, that's a very difficult thing to organize if you're a busy agent. Like, imagine organizing all of that information to a single email and you got a lot of work to do and you got offers coming in. Not easy to do, but significantly easier when it's organized in this fashion, in my opinion. 3 listing strategies, solar advantage, lifestyle staging photos, family work, home office, broker agent preview event. And then here, it's also providing a price reevaluation template to already prepare for the event in which it's not selling in the time frame that we want, right? We can create the time in which it's reported on, but it's already there, okay? Now, that was a lot. Anybody have any questions on that? We only have 12 minutes left and I have one more thing to review. Any questions? Any concerns? If you have real concerns, you're like, this is not okay, I'd like to hear it. I'd like to hear. Julie, you do have a concerned look on your face right now. Muted.
doing a listing that I'm planning on listing on Tuesday. So I've been trying to I really just want a PDF of your prompts. I understand it's going to be recorded, but there are some really good ones in there.
Well, what I'll do, I will save this before everybody leaves. I'll save this prompt and I'll just put it in the chat and you can just download it. You can just have the word prompt. Okay. Now, this exercise is only meant, well, you're going to get the prompt and that could help you immediately, right? There's some
Think of different
other
things.
there's some other technical issues that you might have to dive into and overcome, but remember those technical issues can be resolved in the same place that you're putting the prompt, right? Joe Lowry is an amazing resource to help you solve technological problems. Maybe he's one of the best, but Joe Lowry isn't available 24/7 on your phone to help you resolve your technological issue, which is which plan should I subscribe to on ChatGPT in order to create a listing organization tool? Well, it'll answer it for you, right? It's there. It's an amazing tool. Now, the last thing I want to demo, and I did this sort of, let's see if I'm actually organized to demo it.
Can I just add one thing that
Please
I think
do.
as you're looking? So, I mean, obviously AI is great. Obviously, no, we know they make mistakes, but I was just doing, for example, what elementary school would someone at this address, just because obviously you need that in the MLS. Well, they said Hawthorne School. Well, I know that Hawthorne School has now been closed for a year by spell. So ChatGPT did not catch that. So obviously, it's just one more way to reiterate that you can't trust everything with them. And they
Yes.
were like, oh, that's a great point. Yes, it did close in 2023, 24, so
Yeah. There, thank you for that reminder. That reminder should be included in every single conversation we have about this technology. I've used it a lot, and you can get into these weird circles where it's just giving you returning gobbledygook. Like, and my guess is that the system's overloaded at that time, and there's just a massive amount of users. To give you perspective on the number of users using ChatGPT right now, I think it's in the 600 million people using it range. I mean, it's just a massive number of daily users for these things. The last thing, where is my prompt that I did for? So, oh, the last thing, I do have the prompt that I did for this. Okay, so now, one of the things that I think most people are very, very good at on this call is analyzing an offer. Okay, I think you all know and are very good at looking at a REPSI and going through, because if you've done it enough, you've been burned because I didn't check that line, or I didn't recognize that you asked for a $600 home warranty and I didn't include it on my net sheet or whatever. Okay, let me show you this. You can build a prompt to help you analyze your incoming offer. All right, so, and I didn't spend any time crafting this prompt either, but it's good enough. And by the way, the prompt was built on, I did a real quick one. I just gave it a blank REPSI, our Utah REPSI, and I said, I want a prompt to analyze this document every time I get a new one. So you should be able to see that now. Let me blow it up so maybe you can read a little better. So the prompt is, analyze an offer received on my listing. You will be given the full REPSI or offer summary. Extract and organize the following details to help me advise the seller. Important dates, present in a table format. Due diligence deadline, financing and appraisal deadline, settlement deadline, possession date, deadline, buyer terms, FHA, VA, earnest money, amount, and conditions. Is that? I feel like that's not the whole thing. Oh, well, as it turns out, it's not the whole thing. I didn't copy and paste the whole thing. Sorry, we got to do a little bit more. Okay, there we go. Only takes me 3 times. Okay, and there's more. Hold on, one sec. Come on. All right. There we go. There's even more. Contingency, sale of home, appraisal, financing, inspections, appraisal gap language, seller cost summary, present line by line, home warranty, repairs, buyer's closing costs, HOA transfer fees, any other seller's concession, provide a total estimated seller cost at the bottom. Okay. And then you say, if we need more information to complete the analysis, ask the follow-up question. Is there an addendum? Okay. So you could see that the PDF of my offer is attached here. Okay. And then I got this prompt here ready to go, a basic copy and paste moment for us. Okay. And we'll send that into space and see what happens. Now, again, the reminder for this is that these things do make mistakes. So the analysis is done really fast, but it may not be perfect. So this is where you go and follow up and do, spot checking to make sure the important items are covered correctly. Okay. And I do know this offer because this offer is obviously possession date 8/6. That time has come and gone. This property did close. And there you have an analysis of a purchase contract. Okay.
Mike, can I pop in on
Please
one
do.
point? So one of the things that's so important, and I'm really glad Julie brought this up, is that many people are trying to take AI and replace their own thinking skills with AI. AI is not to that level yet. You need to think of AI as a series of prompts to pull the creativity and knowledge out of your head, as opposed to removing those thoughts and giving the computer the ability to think them for you. So the prompt is indeed critical, because any time that there's a factual data set like we're looking at right now, where it's statistics and those types of things, AI knows what it's supposed to return to you. It's supposed to return like median population or whatever else it's supposed to do. And if for whatever reason, gremlins in the machine aren't getting that right number, it will still produce a number, because its job is to produce a number for you in that spot. But the point being is that all the prompts and the things it's giving you will trigger something in your head to go, that's a great way to show parks within a certain geography. That's a great way to do this. And it will help you go grab that and build an overall presentation layer. And when Will Cooper a few weeks ago was telling everybody that AI is not going to replace real estate agents, but real estate agents that use AI are going to win more deals than those that don't, that's what we're talking about. That all of this data that's coming at you sometimes is going to be spot on and factually correct, but don't remove the concept that AI is going to think for you. AI is going to help you think through something, right? It will not replace how you think or the creativity that you can come up with. But I don't know, the first time you ever go in one of those ice cream shops where you walk in and they're like, oh, there's like 7,000 combinations, and that's just with vanilla and chocolate. And you're like, I don't even know where to start. AI can help sort of clear that noise. If you give it the right prompt, it will start giving you, well, it looks like you might want to do this and you might want to do that. And so, Mike, I think this is a great walkthrough. But just keep in mind, people, it's never going to think for you. You need to use it to help you think it through.
Thank you. That's a really good. Position to take. Maybe even an easier. One of the ways you should view the responses as, you're the CEO. You can't possibly know the minutia of everything going on in a very large company, but someone sets before you an executive summary of what's going on a particular problem. Now, if you're a diligent CEO, you go just sort of spot check and go, are these things that I'm seeing here correct? Because you can dive deeper to see if they're correct. You can pull the PDF up and go, well, is that the right deadline? It is, so you familiarize yourself with the problem. But the summary itself, like if you were to do this might take you 45 minutes to complete a summary like this. But it takes you only 10 minutes to review and make sure the summary is correct. That's the idea. So thank you, Joe. But I do if you look at just the format of this summary, is much more visually appealing and readable than, say, the REPSI itself. Because as you walk through the REPSI, you can explain to your client what these things mean. But in tandem, it's much clearer to all the parties involved when it's presented in this fashion, in my opinion. In tandem, not just one or the other. Home warranty not specified. Repairs, right? It goes through, and those are all really good things to cover. Like if they didn't mention anything about repairs, it should note no repairs were mentioned, right? And then follow-up questions needed. To finalize your seller's net sheet, I need the clarification on these items, okay? Now, take into consideration that what I created here was created in 35 minutes to show you what can be done and maybe where you want to go. So where you want to go should be specific to you, how you operate, and the results that you want. Now, Kristen and Nancy have demonstrated very clearly that the limitations of what I did is limited to my experience and like, yeah, I want a social media post that targets people. But Kristen wants a social media post that generates links to her website so she can see what they're doing. Like, that's better, much better, right? And even when you think creatively about some of these problems, like, well, I want that link to be, I want that link to go back to Real Scout, right? In a search parameter that I've already created for this particular listing. So I can send every lead I get on this listing to that search. Like, the organizational aspect alone is worth your time. Let alone if you're thinking about the prompts or whatever, it's well worth your time. So now while we're talking, I'm going to go ahead and save this before any of you leave. And I'm going to upload it as a Word doc. Okay, and then we are going to give me a second, y'all. Give me a
Yeah, while you're typing, I'll just start talking, Mike, because that's how we do these little handoffs. So on Kristen's prompt, there's one sentence, and some of you have heard me say this a few times. There's one sentence that I've used that has really, really helped me in my AI sort of process, is that at the end of every prompt, if you say, ask me any questions in order for me to get the most relevant results. So no matter what you're using, what prompt you put in, if you add to the end of that, ask me any questions in order to give me the most relevant results. And it doesn't matter what you ask, it'll come back. Sometimes it'll ask questions, sometimes it won't, right? If it doesn't ask you questions, that means your prompt might be a little generic. So the more you ask it to be concise with what you mean, the better the results it will provide for you towards the end. So if you're writing a social media blurb for the listing, I would anticipate if you added a sentence about ask me any questions, you might need in order to give me the most relevant results. It might say, what particular markets are you currently doing advertising in? Or it'll ask you a couple of other series of questions that will help you refine what it is that you're trying to get from it. And almost always, and we saw it with the auto return on some of the data that Mike was getting earlier. Whenever you make AI do the blink blink, I'm thinking, or I have to go do some research or whatever, then you know you did it right, because it's saying I'm not returning a fixed data set. I have to go ask the world and the history of all my knowledge in order to give you the correct answer.
Thank you. Very well said. By the way, that Word doc is now in the chat, so you can download it to your computer and modify it. Just remember, part of what you might want to do is copy and paste that into AI and say, is this good enough for me? I want something slightly different. In my marketing, I want to do this. Let's replace this with that. This it should be a launch point for you to help create the thing that you want to manage your business. And remember, the time that you spend doing this, like if you spend an hour doing this, this can save you a lot of time in the future. And even if it's not saving you any time, it can deliver we just talked about listings today. It can deliver, I think, a form of customer service that you haven't delivered in the past, right? And maybe you're saying, well, you know what I'm not good at? I'm not good at the follow-up. Maybe you can help it craft you a way for you to be better at that and deliver a better product to your clients. Maybe you're amazing at that and you need better help doing something else. Like focus in the areas and where maybe you're weak, okay? But you can create what you want and you can use AI to do it all day long. Now, I welcome all the phone calls to ask me what to do next and to get ideas. I welcome every single one of them because I love talking to you guys. But guess what? You can also just ask the question. And also think about this. If you put in that prompt in the same thread and you're trying to work through it to craft your own, yes, I can give you insight and maybe it'll be helpful, but AI can give you the same insight, right? And just to say, I don't really like this. I want to start from scratch. I want the bones of it, but I want the details to be different. Give me 10 ideas to make these better. What am I missing here, right? Just talk to it as a normal human being and work through that problem. It can also do it, but that's also a great way to increase your use of it and increase your knowledge of how it responds and what you should do. So anyway, that's all I got, y'all. And 204, not too bad, almost on the spot. And I'll send you off with another recommendation to go watch yourself some K-pop Demon Hunters. Have a great Labor Day holiday and Sunday night, K-pop Demon Hunters. You and the kids and the fam. It's going to be a good time.